All right, so regular season wrapped up, and there's standings and there's playoff implications of all this. But I feel like one thing that a lot of content producers do is they don't revisit their content, um, at different stages, right? So we actually made predictions and probably didn't watch it, but I think it's important for us to have a chat and obviously take ourselves back almost 6 months now and figure out what were we thinking, why did we think that, and then what happened along the way to end up where we did. So, going to be some editing magic, I'm sure, to get these projected picks up. But we're going to start with the East, and I actually feel really good about this one because I was able to pick the top three, admittedly not in order, but I viewed the Bucks being the best team in the East, and obviously that held true. Then I identified the 76ers. I think we both felt something coming with Joel Embiid and Harden having a full season together, and that's come to fruition as well. And they took the second seed. And then the Celtics took the third seed in my prediction, and obviously they did slightly better than the 76ers, so that's a direct swap. And then it starts to get a little bit sketchy. So, I really went on that Heat culture, the playoff experience. I felt like they should be our fourth seed, especially after making the Eastern Conference Finals. And we recently watched them compete in the second playing game to avoid elimination, and obviously got drawn the Bucks on the eighth seed. So that did not pan out the way that we wanted it to for them. And then I viewed the Cavs being the fifth best team. I viewed them competing with the Heat for that fourth spot, but funnily enough, they weren't competing with the Heat. They actually took the fourth spot and they were competing against the Knicks. And, I think it's quite underrated how close the Cavaliers are to the 76ers. It's 3 wins that separated them by the end there. So I think there's some credit that needs to be done. And then I felt like the Hawks, they made the Eastern Conference Finals those years back. They're getting more time together. They had Nate McMillan as the coach, and there should be continuity. And it was just another weird season by them. I don't know if you even saw that stat, that they were splitting games. So basically, like in their last two games, they were 1-1. Last four games, 2-2. They really split games, and it's it'll be interesting to see how they go in the playoffs. I had them projected to be a six seed going up against the Celtics, and I guess inadvertently I did predict that matchup. Just they were a second and seventh seed instead. But that were my six that I predicted at the start of the season.
I,
But let's go to yours.
I feel like you're trying to nitpick some credit for your picks from about 7 months ago now. Like I had a quick scan here. You got four right in the East, and I got four right in the East. How you want to break that down further to who was more correct or not? I guess you could go set your own criteria there, right? Yeah, it was the Hawks was an interesting one. I obviously didn't have them in my top six. I think the stat is they were one game from 500 either up or down the whole season long. So it was a yeah, sort of real interesting season they had there. My picks, obviously, I had the Celtics and Bucks. First two spots in the East there. They did finish the other way around there. Cavs at number three. They ultimately finished at number four. I had Toronto pretty high on my list there, and I'd have to say everybody probably feels that they had a real disappointing year. Um, the fact that they're not even playing, playoffs is probably indicative of what they're going to have to do in the off season here, and they got some huge decisions to make here. I think does this team have enough to really make the top six, to avoid the play in, and to compete? If not, who are they trading? Will Van Fleet want to pick up his option? Will they even have that sort of situation where they, will be able to bring him back if they want to bring him back? Will Nick Nurse come back too? So many questions abound, I think, in Toronto right now. So, they had a real disappointing year. Clearly didn't even make the playoffs after being eliminated in the play-in. 76ers at number five. They obviously finished a bit higher than I had picked them, but credit to Joel Embiid. I think some of the little moves they made, or the moves they didn't make, ultimately in the trade period, really has shaped our season. And maybe we probably need to talk about this at some point. Maybe like huge credit to James Harden too. I think Harden has really reinvented himself as a successful second option. And that's not always as easy as it sounds. We could go through history here and pick all these players that were superstars, that could not make an adjustment to become a second option on a team. And Harden has really done that effectively and, picked up effectively an assist crown, I think, in that as well, by really sharing the ball a lot more instead of shooting as much as he probably did in his last few stops, several years ago. So yeah, I guess it's a real interesting observation there. My sixth spot obviously was the Heat, and yeah, look, you sort of broke that down. It's similar to Toronto, they had a bit of a disappointing season from what they were able to achieve from 12 months ago. They're still alive, but how far they go here, I don't think anyone's picking them for a conference finals again. But I guess we'll see. But yeah, it's the East was I don't know. Well, like I said, we both got 4 out of 6 picks.
Well, I also think if we're really trying to separate us on who clearly was more in tune with what was going to happen, I'm probably going to take that crown because all 6 of my teams are in the playoffs, whereas only 5 of yours are. Toronto actually did not make it. Um, yeah.
Yo, this is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.